man, this is the wrong one.
Wait, what?
This is the wrong intro. Man. There we go. And we got, okay. We are back with episode 33 of Between Two Beans with myself, Will Rungholt, and my co-host, Kevin Evans. How's it going, Kevin?
Hello. It's going well. It's going well. It's another busy week. You know, we're heading into fall. And I'm trying to catch up, get ready for the colder weather. So I've got lots on my plate at the moment, but I'm excited to jump in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
how are things on your end?
If you haven't noticed, I changed things up again on everyone. I just realized that my even on this scene, I'm not lined up right. That's a lot better. But anyways, yeah, I changed things up. I decided to go back to Twitch Studio to try to use that to stream.
Okay.
It's not, there's like nothing wrong with the other one. Mm-hmm. This one is more simple. And you still get all the things that are needed. You know?
Right. I used this about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
The beta, I think it's still in beta. And you're right, it wasn't as robust as others like Streamlabs or OBS or whatever it was. But it still got the job done. I was able to put my face out there and people could hear me, so that was a win.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe I see my voice bar is going up, and I've seen Kevin's go up as well. So I believe we're all good with technical stuff.
Sounds good.
So we can get things started right away. Ooh, I see a problem.
Okay.
So I have to be in edit mode to I don't know why I like that, but anyways, to be able to do this.
Okay.
So, and that means I can't see the chat in edit mode.
Okay. And you're pulling in chat from Twitch and anywhere else?
No, just Twitch. Just Twitch. We are just on Twitch now, so.
Cool.
I'm not sure. I mean, it's not hard to edit and then save and whatnot, but it's kind of tedious. Maybe I can make different scenes, but that might be a little much too, so I don't know. But
no worries.
All right, so you wanted to talk about Insider, huh?
I did. So I actually found out about this, I believe it was this morning. I'm not sure if I heard it through Jeff Blankenberg's morning stream that he was doing, where he's building a skill for developers. or if it was through office hours. It might have been through office hours, but they had mentioned on one of those streams that they kind of consolidated all the Alexa information. So that was something we had brought up before, and others in the Alexa Slack channel have mentioned, is that they'd really like a place where everything's all condensed into one spot. And so that's what it looks like they've done with the Insider. So developer.amazon.com and then /Alexa Insider. And they have a section here with featured, which I don't know that there's too much here just yet. It's not a carousel type modal, but they've got a feature section where there's some videos and you can watch Alexa Live 2022 on demand. And then there's an article here about growing your business with Alexa. So click the image and it'll pop you to a blog article, basically, or more of a news marketing type of article, but definitely has some good information in them. And then if you scroll down just a touch, there's start building. So you can link out to Alexa GitHub, the tech docs, tutorials, and the developer console. So it's kind of this one-stop shop in a way.
Awesome.
There's a news section, news and announcements. So I plan on, and I think that just links over to the blog. If I remember right, the Alexa Skills Kit blog. But that's something I'm going to keep an eye on because I like to pull news stories and get the latest and greatest. There's some APL stuff, Alexa Presentation Language, which I'm glad to see they're really pushing. And then it kind of jumps down into Alexa Live again. So it's older information, but it's all in one spot.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I really do like the bottom where they're putting all of their videos, so latest videos, and then they categorize them. And so it kind of breaks them down between smart home, voice services, skill builders, and then you can sort through all of them, and they get tagged. So I can see this growing as office hours are now on here.
Yeah, for sure.
We can use that as a reference, which is fantastic. Because there are times that I sit in office hours and I'm either kind of working or I'm doing something else or have it on in the background, maybe to hear what other people are talking about or what questions get raised. And then I want to reference that again. Or they're very, very good about putting the links in the chat. And I believe they had the links there. I'll have to double check that. But I believe they provide some of that, which is nice. But it's a one-stop shop, and I'm excited that it's here because it also talks about the various events that are going on, so you can keep track of when office hours are. Voice 2022 is here. Different Alexa tech talks that are put on. Typically, I believe those are on Thursdays. But then at the bottom, exploring more, there's developer guides, code samples, any workshops that they put on, and feature updates, which is something that I have bookmarked, but now I can just kind of come here and jump right in. And then last but not least, you can sign up for the newsletter that sends you periodic updates and the community. So Slack is on here as well as GitHub, Twitter, and Stack Overflow.
Yeah, this is nice.
All of those are excellent resources for every developer. So it's very nice that it's developer focused and not just my gram, that comes on here and is like, oh, what can my Alexa do for me today? That kind of thing. So this is definitely developer focused.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's here. And I know I say this a lot, but I'm looking forward to seeing it expand and grow. So, yeah.
Neat.
But that's Alexa Insider. I found out about it today and definitely wanted to share it with everyone.
Yeah, I must have missed this one. So thank you.
Yeah, pretty good stuff.
I'm actually gonna switch back to this chatting thing, right? This view, because it seems like you're audio was coming in weird, so I didn't know if it was on my end. Oh, I think it's on my end.
Okay. Was I cutting in and out, or was I?
It just sounds like you're in a echo chamber.
Okay.
But you didn't when we were just talking. So I think it's
Okay.
this new thing.
It's possible. I know others that have streamed. Whenever they start sharing screens, maybe their audio sounds a little crackly, things like that. But I'm not sure what their reason would be.
Yeah, it's you. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. No, so I'm reverberating.
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Interesting, because I put my microphone in a foam chamber to eliminate any of that.
Yeah, it's definitely on my end.
Oh, okay. Okay. But I think a microphone might be my next purchase. But while you dig into that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Learning Lab. This was announced back at Alexa Live 2022, and it's kind of a training workshop page, like a landing page, that has a ton of different information on here. Right now, they're pushing APL at the top of the page, and they have a kind of walkthrough tutorial. I guess they call it a curriculum that you can go through. It takes about four to 5 hours, and you can jump into that. And it goes through the basics of APL, which is Alexa Presentation Language, and then how to create a basic skill using APL, kind of getting that foundation, how to create responsive displays. So different things like the viewports and different sizes, you can adjust for those. And then the last, I guess, module, I'll call it, is responding to touch input. So pretty neat that you can kind of get your feet under you a little bit with an official Alexa or Amazon APL kind of curriculum. And then below that, they had Amazon developed workshops, which so Cake Time, we've referenced that before. Cake Time is on here, and I don't know, but I think maybe we'll find out. We'll see if that's been updated, because a lot of this stuff, like the code samples on GitHub that are also on this Learning Lab, are 2, 3, 5 years old. The resources that are on the GitHub page, what I believe they used to call, I don't know if they still call it this, the cookbook. They used to call it the cookbook. And
Yep.
that stuff is still there. Is it still relevant? I believe most of it is. I think that most of the changes have occurred within maybe the developer console. But when you break it all down, utterances, intents, slots have kind of stayed mostly the same. But it does allow you to have these code samples for APL, and then there's a quiz game skill and a fact skill. But then they've also partnered with Udacity and Cloud Guru and Career Foundry to have, I haven't dug into these, but I believe you have to pay for these ones, where you can go through like a nano degree or a certification or just kind of a tutorial basically for those different topics. So the nano degree program goes through main components of natural language processing. So you'll hear that referred to as NLP. So that's the speech recognition, sentiment analysis, and kind of that machine translation. And then the AWS certification for Alexa Skill Builder Prep, that's by a Cloud Guru. And what it says is that you can prepare for the AWS Certified Alexa Skill Builder exam and it's taught by Alexa Champion, Kesha Williams, and it covers things like building, testing, certifying, and publishing of that Alexa skill. So that's a good one as far as getting your foundation under you. So I would almost think that doing something like a tutorial of cake time or building a very basic skill and then becoming more comfortable with those terms and various terminology in the voice tech world, and then jumping into this AWS certification to kind of get that piece of paper, that little badge by your name that says, yeah, I can do this stuff. That's never a bad idea. And then the voice user interface design down at the bottom there by Career Foundry. This is where you learn about key concepts of voice design, and you also build portfolio pieces. So you get a mentor as well. So it might be something that somebody wants to look into. If you're newer to voice tech, that could be a really great jumping on point.
Oh, you're talking about right here?
And the bottom right, yes, it says Voice User Interface Design, Career Foundry in Collaboration.
I suppose you can't really see my mouse.
That's a
good. Oh, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. And I always like to see down at the bottom they have the tech docs again, different webinars, blogs, white papers, and give some feedback. Something that I've noticed Amazon and the Alexa team is doing very, very well with is that they're taking feedback and they're making improvements. So I am seeing that. Some of the things that we have brought up on this stream, some of the things that get brought up in the Slack channels, office hours, you can definitely tell that our voices are being heard and that they are putting in the effort to make things better. So I'm glad to see that. I always like to see a provide feedback button.
Neat.
With that being said, I'm not sure if you wanted to jump into our next section, if you wanted to potentially use some of these resources and try and build something on screen.
Beaningful Conversation and
Beautiful.
Building with Kevin and Will.
Flows right off the tongue, doesn't it? So,
I figured out my problem. So it is a me problem. You are coming through the browser.
Video Ninja. Okay, browser.
And
yeah.
Also on my Twitch stream. So
okay. So if I mute myself
of you, that's why there's an echo. So the people in the audience would not hear that echo. So I just want to clarify that.
Okay. Would it help if I mute myself on the browser side?
I don't think you can. I mean, you can try. No, I can't hear you.
Okay. All right. That muted me.
You could also try. Not hang up. Try to say something.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hey. Can you hear me though?
I can hear you. Yep.
That works.
Can Twitch hear me? Okay, good enough. Cool. Troubleshooting on the fly. Perfect. Oops, so this is definitely
Discord or this. Oh my gosh, I have 8,000 things wrong up.
Sharing all the secrets today.
Okay. So what are we going to build?
Would you
start some basics of APL?
We could do that. Definitely.
Engaging skill.
We could do an engaging skill. And this is start building quickly with our beginner tutorial. I believe this is cake time.
This one right here?
I believe so, yes. I'm hoping it's updated a little bit because probably a year and a half ago, I think I ran through Cake Time again, and it was not updated for the most recent dev console. So things that it referenced were kind of in the wrong place, and you had to kind of know what you were doing in order to use it,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense. So things like, here, click this, and here's this screenshot for intent handlers, and it's not there. You know, it was somewhere else.
All
So
right.
if you're
So,
up for it,
yeah, I'm up for it.
okay, okay,
Let me also get to here. I didn't think it was gonna. I created a login just for our uh, online coding. So
perfect.
we just click this next button to understand Alexa skills. This is approximately 10 to 20 minutes. So we'll probably do this chunk today. Uh,
Mhm.
and maybe another chunk next week or whenever we need to fill some time, depending on how long this actually takes. Uh,
Sure, sure.
just to and we'll go through this, try to do it step by step. Even though
Okay,
I know both of us know most of these things, we're still trying to teach, and there might be something we learn, something new. So forgive me,
yep,
I'm not the
absolutely.
best reader, so you have to bear with me when I read. Um, and we'll get through this.
Sounds good.
Um, so what you'll learn, why you should build Alexa skills. Hmm, I might learn something right there. What type of Alexa skills you can create, how an Alexa skill works, the
Yeah, yeah.
steps to build a skill. And there's a little chart here that says ease of access, speed of it, and efficiency, and skill monetization. Um,
Hmm.
and then it will go
So
into more depth about why build Alexa skill. Each one of those items I just mentioned. Ease of
yeah,
access.
so yeah, there's some good information there. I think one of the parts that we should talk about would be the steps of building a skill. So if you found Alexa and you found our stream, our podcast that's out there, you probably have an idea. So why building? Sure, fantastic. You know, there's ease of access, there's speed and efficiency, the skill monetization is out there,
Yep.
you know. So we can't tell you what to build, but we can kind of go through those steps of how to build. And so down towards the bottom, they have step one, and that's design. And so maybe we should talk a little bit briefly about how we design our skill. And for me, I start off with I have my idea, and then I have a, a notebook, or I use maybe OneNote or Evernote or even just a Google Doc, whatever you have, and I'll start pseudo coding. So I'll have things like almost a miniature script, and then I'll have, I'll say something like either Airtable, which we can get into that kind of stuff later, but um, you know, setting up different, what I'll call, for right now, I'll call them variable names. And so we'll get into like launch words and or wake words and launch words and invocation names and utterances. We'll get into all that. But what I typically do is kind of sketch it out, get a very, very rough draft of how I kind of want things to go. And it's not set in stone or anything, but it gives me a guide of where I can start, kind of get a little piece in the middle, and then how I can end things off. So that's typically my design process, to kind of lay that foundation. Will, what do you typically do? Do you jump feet first, or do you tend to write things down as well?
So, yeah, I do. I don't write things down. I'm not the best note taker, but I do a like a pre-design, uh, kind of like what you were saying, but it's very different.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what I do is a huge, large, way over the top overview of
Uh,
my skill. I do it in a flowchart way.
okay.
This works best for me because I can see, because when you're developing a voice skill, it's slightly different than a web page or a mobile
Yes.
app. You know, you're
Yeah.
always looking at details of the visuals, uh, but voice, it's that's what you should strive to focus on is
Mhm.
the voice flow. So that's why I use a flow chart. So
Makes sense.
I'll
Makes
have
sense.
like the first intent, which is the welcome, the launch, and then I'll have like my other intents, which will, like Kevin said, we'll get into a little bit later. But I have the different what people can say to go here, what people can say to go here, what people say can to go here, and then I'll have them branched off as well. And that's how I do things. I'm not saying
Okay.
it's the way to do it. It's just the way I like to do it. I like to visualize
Mhm.
the flow of the voice app or voice skill. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's no wrong way to come up with this stuff or to get your idea out there. But like what you were saying with that flow and everything, and it's different from a web page, you're absolutely right. And I think you hit the nail on the head, and we can kind of wrap up the design part by talking just a quick second about voice interaction models. So what that means is you just want to incorporate voice, visuals, not always, but sometimes visuals, and situations. So those are all things that you need to keep in mind. And that kind of leads us into building a little bit as well. So it's JSON format, right? So that's where
uh-huh.
we're kind of jumping into.
Yeah. So when you see that, it is JSON at its core. Uh,
Mhm.
so you won't be, at least I don't know anyone that just writes pure JSON. Um,
Right, right.
you'll write JSON for APL, APLA. If you want to write JSON for your skill to hold like a data structure, you can do that as
Mhm.
well. But like your, if you write in with Node or Python, that I'm gonna probably use the wrong word, but it gets like, is it transcoded? No, it's not. I forget what the word is,
They
but
converted, translated.
it
Okay.
it gets yeah, it kind of translates it
Mhm.
into JSON, and then it sends the JSON response to the Alexa API, and then you get
Yeah.
back a. I forgot to mute my device next to me. Um, and then you get back a response. Uh,
Mhm.
so, and you do this, there's many of great ways. But if you're just starting out, I would try to focus on utilizing the Alexa built-in, not built-in, Alexa um, uh, dang, I
Like
always forget.
AWS Lambda stuff,
No,
where you get. Oh, okay.
I get there in a second. Uh, Create scale.
Hmm.
It will say it here. Alexa hosted.
Oh, Alexa hosted. Alexa hosted. I see. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree with that 100%. Yeah.
if you're going to be starting out fresh, uh, and new to making a skill, I would focus on that because that kind of
Mhm.
has the Lambda, the Dynamo,
Yeah.
the S3. I know those are buzzwords, and you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but those it's everything is included, and you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to have
Hmm.
AWS account. Uh, you just have
Right.
to
Right.
make a skill building account. Um,
Mhm.
and
And that's also free for the first 1 million calls a month. So that's
which
kind of a
is
nice
a
little
lot.
piece.
So
It is. It is. Yeah.
you'll be perfectly fine for the most
Yep.
people's skills. Um, and then the other way is if you built them, you probably won't be even listening to me anyways. But there's another way is to use the Alexa SDK, which you would be
Mhm.
using like your favorite code editor to build
Right.
a skill in your code editor, and then pushing it up to Alexa uh, um, with
Mhm.
the Alexa CLI, which
Yeah.
is the command line interface. And
Yep.
um,
Yeah,
so
and there are some
those
definite
are
perks to
two
doing it that way
different,
too.
yes, there is some. Uh, do they outweigh the free stuff you get on Alexa hosted? Probably not. But I mean, you have more freedom, and uh, and there is some really good um, benefits to using the SDK instead of Alexa
Mhm.
hosted. So um, and but if you do use the SDK, you do need an AWS account, and
Right.
you might want to know what a lambda is, and the difference between a lambda and Dynamodb or
Hmm.
S3. Um, just a brief overview. S3 is where you're going to be your um, data bank that holds all your images, your videos, your music, um,
Yep.
whatever you want to use in within the skill. That's where you're going to
Yeah.
hold that information, that data. If you
Right.
want
We
to,
call that an S3 bucket. So
yes,
yeah, you're right. It's just a big container for all your info, your files. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then DynamoDB is a SQL, SQL-less
Mhm.
database. Uh, it it's pretty much like a JSON if you're just writing JSON, but uh, it's slightly different, and that is your database. So that holds whatever stuff you need to hold in your skill, like your player's the user's name or what score they got or whatever. That's what you want to store in a database. And the last thing I said, Lambda, that is where your code will be held. It is serverless, meaning when your code gets called, it will fire up that your code and then bring it down after a certain amount of time.
Right.
If your skill doesn't get used a lot, which I've had this in the past of a few of my skills, uh, it might take a little bit to boot up and whatnot. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
makes complete sense. So we've kind of actually covered almost all of 4 of these steps because we had our design, we talked about building. Testing is kind of intertwined with building. A lot of the times I'm testing something and then I'm going back and building, and then I'm testing a little more, then I'm building a little more, or I'm, breaking something and then testing it and beating my head against the wall, and then I got to go back to building, and then then I just get super glue and I like throw it all together. But once you have your, final, your MVP, minimum viable product, or, you've polished it up really nicely, then you can submit that for certification. And so what certificate, oh, go ahead. I see you're ready to jump in.
yeah. I just want one thing. Uh,
Okay.
it's something I actually learned this week. I didn't even think about doing it. If you do not want to publish it, you can get it certified or checked by Amazon to
Mm-hmm.
then publish whenever you wish. So if you want to,
Okay.
let's say, just check out a certain chunk of code or that you would like them to see if it's working correctly, you can have them just check that chunk of code.
Okay.
And then they can just certify that chunk of code is working good. And then
Hmm.
you're like, okay, great. So then when you are ready to publish, it's not going to take
Yeah.
these 4 weeks or 3 weeks like most of the time that
Gotcha.
happens
Okay.
with me. So
So what you're saying is, not to interrupt, but what you're saying is, let's say Cards of Wonder, right? You're gonna put out a Halloween update, and it's gonna have Halloween themed cards. And so you're working on this in the summer months, June, July, and August. You have that ready to go. Everything's good. You can submit that for certification and then hold on to that and then push it uh, early October.
yeah, exactly.
That would be like a perfect. Okay, I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yep.
You taught me something today, Will.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I like I said, I just learned it this week. So
Huh.
it's a
It
thing
makes
that
sense.
um, should be more readily known.
Yeah.
And it might be good a development strategy.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
and yeah,
That is interesting.
that's
Cool.
mainly what I wanted to put in there. And
Yeah.
like Kevin said, then you can publish it after it clears certification. Uh, you get an email back from Amazon saying your skill has been published. Uh,
Mhm.
it'll be a certain amount of time before you see it in the might be before you see it in the skill store, but you could anyone could start using it as of that
Yep.
time. So
Once it's published, it's basically like an app on the App Store or in the Google Play Store. It's available for Graham to download, and it's available for Johnny and Timbuktu to download. So
yep, as
yeah.
long as you have
Well,
the
yeah, yeah,
for Timbuktu.
yeah. I know that was Yeah.
Maybe not
So
Timbuktu. Maybe like Scotland.
right there you go. There you go. But I do want to make mention before we jump into things, and I'll be more quiet, is that you do not need an Alexa device to develop skills.
That's
You can
true.
do everything through the developer console. It's kind of like almost like an emulator. You know what I mean? I've done
No,
some
it is.
mobile
It is
development,
an emulator. Yeah.
and yeah, yeah, it's
It's a
almost like
testing device
having
that's
that up
in
there.
the developer console, and
Mhm.
uh, trying to think. I mean, this is like a great stopping point. So I don't know if we should
Yeah,
jump
yeah,
into it. You know?
that's true. Do you maybe next time we will get into the next page of this, which talks about some of the terminology. There's a couple graphics on the page that explain wake word
Yeah,
launches,
yeah.
those types of things.
This is
Maybe next
definitely a
time.
good stopping
Yeah,
point for us. And then, like like you said, we'll jump into this next time.
yeah, perfect. And put these principles into play.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
And then and maybe we can also utilize do this section for our if we don't have anything for spilling the beans,
hmm,
we could use this for that section, and then
sure.
start
Well,
developing in the code Beaningful Conversation. We'll come up
Beaningful
with a great
conversation. Beaningful
bean
conversation. Yeah, yeah.
bean coding. Bean coding.
We have bean coding. Yes. Yep. There you go. Live,
We'll have a
live. Here
new
you go.
we'll have a
Figure
new
it
banner for bean coding.
out. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's perfect. This is definitely going to be a more of a visual um, type of situation rather than our typical uh, verbal side of it, where in podcast form.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a good idea. We'll keep it on Twitch. I think we'll download it and then throw it onto YouTube as well. I think that's probably a good idea. And yeah, this is definitely a good stopping point. But join us next week for that when we really start digging into it and making some good progress. So
Sounds good. All right.
yeah,
Let's um I guess just jump into the bean of the week.
sure,
Um
sure.
so I do have one come on. I'm going to open up yours too while I'm at it. I
Yeah.
do have one this week. It is the art bundle from HumbleBundle.
Ooh,
Um,
another one. Nice.
although I was thinking of this, I was like, I actually don't have this bundle. I have a different bundle, but I want this bundle. So anybody out there that are feeling really nice, you can get me this bundle. But I do have this other bundle, which is right here, this tools bundle. So I can actually talk about this bundle.
Okay,
Um,
sure, sure.
this one has a lot of great tools in it. Um, the biggest one I wanted it for was the CG kit to make cards of wonder.
Oh, okay.
I'm having a little difficulty with so we'll see. Um, oh,
Like technical difficulties or just learning curve?
both.
Well, okay, okay.
And then we have this top-down engine. I would say this top-down engine is easily uh, more than $60, I would put it at this $199 and put the CCG at the 60. Because this has a lot of ideas for you to start generating great ideas for yourself. This is all for Unity, but still, it's great. It comes with a lot of stuff. So, and there's a
Okay.
lot of videos too on this top-down engine.
As far as like tutorials and
Right.
explanations.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect.
Another a great one. I haven't utilized it yet, but the Storyteller is pretty much a visual coding uh, story like interaction.
Okay.
So, like if you were to talk to this person and it gives you a quest, it has all the information. If you want to ask them a question, it'll have that answer to that question all laid out. It's like a flow chart of to tell a story.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
kind of like
That's
the
neat.
visual flow charts for voice. So, but
Okay. That
it's
makes sense.
to make stories. So that was pretty cool. Another one,
Useful.
I haven't used it, but I thought this was neat. This endless book. So it just acts like a book, and you can put whatever you want on this book. So I haven't used it, but I
Okay.
thought it was neat. Another one I was recommended was this full screen editor. So you get a full screen instead of a tiny little screen like it is in Unity.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But there's a lot of cool things. A mech combat kit, trains controller if you like trains. Um,
Hmm.
this tree creator, um, RPG and MMO cameras and controllers. Uh, this
Sure.
this right here, this module uh, motion is pretty neat. It's like a UI, but it like moves your you help you move your UI to make it more, I guess, attractive. I guess so.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of great ones in this one, but like I said,
Yeah.
those who want to be nice, you can buy me the art bundle. And yeah,
Cool. Cool.
how about you, Kevin?
Well, yeah, you kind of blew mine out of the water this week. Mine is just a mouse.
Nice.
Right here actually. So I wanted something a little bit better. I needed to up my mouse game a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I use one for work all the time, and I've had some little features on it, but I really wanted to upgrade, and so I was looking for a rechargeable one that was wireless and all this, but the more I looked into it, the batteries just don't last as long as you would think for a rechargeable one.
Mm.
So I just went with this. It was a good price, $50 is, okay. And so it works Bluetooth and it has like a receiver as well. And so it works with Mac and Windows because I jump back and forth.
Oh, nice.
My work stuff is Mac. My home stuff is majority Windows. And there are, I gotta count them, I think 6 buttons on the side of it right here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If you uh,
Yep.
there we go. Someday I'll get used to this. So there are 6 buttons here. And so a lot of times what I do is if I need to copy and paste, I can easily just use, let's see if I can do this. So copy and then above it is paste. And
What?
it's just super simple. I can just cruise right through it. And
That's
then
pretty
if
neat.
I need to undo something, there's undo here. But there's also macros. So I can set this button back here maybe you get the point.
Yeah.
And I can set it to do multiple tasks at one time. So if I want to triple click to select a whole line of text, then copy it, I can do that with one button push.
What?
And I can flip screens, I can move around, whatnot. There are also two buttons here, like that I could use for, like, if I listen to a podcast or something, I can use volume control, just up and down. The scroll wheel is a hyper scroll wheel, so I can cruise really fast. There's this scroll wheel here, if I feel it, right here, has left and right to it, so I can back page, forward page, those types of things. It's definitely a good tool. I've used it on 2 different Macs and a Windows machine, and it is flawless. I haven't had a single issue with it.
I never knew that was a thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I've been using this mouse.
Different Logitech.
Yeah, I've been using this mouse here, and if you see, it has 2 buttons on the side, and I've been using that for a copy and a paste. But to do it here in a different style, a different form factor with more features is absolutely fantastic. So, one AA battery, 250 hours. So it does the job. I'm really happy with it. But yeah, still doesn't hold a candle to your HumbleBundle though. So, but yeah, the right tool for the job, and I think this mouse is a solid buy. Definitely a recommend on my part. The only thing I will say about it that I don't like is it's starting. I've only had it for like a couple days. I don't know if you can tell with the glare that I have from my light, but can you see the difference in color on the button?
Mm-hmm.
It's got a coating on it, and it's starting to rub off a little bit. So that's the only downside, but I don't care, and I don't care about the lighting. Like, I don't have to have RGB lighting on it or anything super snazzy. So I'm a simple man,
Nice.
But yeah. But with that, I think it was a great stream. We talked about the Insider, so it's a repository for developers, and we're gonna jump into this tutorial. We're gonna kind of help those who are trying to get into Alexa development. We're kind of going to run through it, explain our experiences, explain some of our knowledge that we can, because I think it's important in not just the voice community, but as developers in general, that we help to give back and help those that need help.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah, more than happy to do it, and I'm excited to really jump into it next week.
Sure. Awesome. I don't got anything to add there. I guess just if you want to have a conversation about anything, you can find me on Twitter at WRONGHOLT. And you can also find these on YouTube, which then you can leave a comment in our below the video.
Perfect.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm at KJ Evans 2787 on Twitter. That's usually a pretty good way to get in touch with me. Might be kicking around some streaming on my own Twitch channel as well, so stay tuned for that. I might plug that here. Might do some different pieces and parts of things, but
Nice.
I think that was on my plate, so you could reach out to me there. And other than that, hope everybody has a good week. I know there's some wild weather down south in the States, and the Dominican area has been kind of getting hit lately. So stay safe, everybody, and we'll definitely talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Bye.